Good evening, Wild fans. Um, Ben here with the Giles and the Goalie live Facebook recap following the 5-4 overtime loss to the New Jersey Devils by the Minnesota Wild. What can you say about that game? That was, noted goalie apologist myself. That was as bad of a game as I think you'll ever see Devin Dubnyk play. No doubt about it that loss is hung on him, and I don't want to say him alone, but that loss is definitely hung on him, and I think he's probably painfully aware of that. It's really tough to pinpoint where his struggles are coming from this season. He got off to just an incredible start in October. 937 save percentage. Really tanked in November. Hasn't been the same since. Been kind of, just hovering over 900 save percentage since then. Up games, down games. I don't know exactly what is wrong. He's got some mechanical things that you notice once in a while, but then the next game they're gone. And it seems like he's got things fixed. He has a good game, and then the next game is something like this, And so it's really tough to pinpoint it, from a mechanical standpoint. I think it's just as simple as it's a confidence thing. I think it's just as simple as it's a head thing. Devin Dubnyk is, one of the more demonstrative goalies you'll see in the NHL. He does definitely let his emotions kind of run him a little bit. You'll see that when he allows a goal where he thinks there's interference, or, tonight they had a goal that was high sticking, and that was the first thing that he did immediately after allowing the goal. I think it's just that simple, that it's very much in his head at this point. And that is good and bad news, because it's good news because it's not something physical. It might not be where he has a hurt knee. It might not be where, his ankle is bothering him. That's good. But at the same time, these mental things can be a lot harder to chase. If you have a hurt knee, well, you know what it is. It's a hurt knee. If you have a hurt ankle, well, you know what it is. It's a hurt ankle. Confidence is a much more fickle beast, and we saw it actually. Many folks might not have heard of it, but Scott Darling, Canes goalie that was so good for the Blackhawks a couple of years ago, signed a big contract with the Canes, has been terrible since then, is now taking time off from hockey to kind of reset his mind a little bit, and that's kind of the reality of how hard it is to reset yourself mentally as an NHL goaltender, as being that that every night bell cow for a team and not being able to deliver to those expectations. As for Sunday's game, I think you probably will see Alex Stalock. I think that there's not a whole lot of options that Bruce has. You kind of have to start Stalock. You can start Dubnyk and just hope that it's a short memory thing, and nothing is going to wipe out the memories of tonight faster than him playing on Sunday. I can definitely see that being an issue. But you got to keep in mind, folks, and I'll beat this drum all the time, Alex Stalock is not the answer. He's not the starting goaltender that the Wild need. He's not anything that's going to lead this team to the playoffs. He is, at best, an adequate backup in the NHL, but more accurately, he's a below-average backup in the NHL, and that's just kind of how it is. And to answer the question from Mike Schneider here, yeah, the Wild are really good defensively. And if you look at a lot of the metrics that are available, a lot of the advanced metrics, they are one of the best teams in the NHL in allowing quality chances. When you look at the expected goals allowed statistic, which is kind of measures a little more of the quality versus quantity that Corsi measures, the Wild are tops in the league, or top three on a pretty consistent basis. So it does make these goaltenders look a little bit better than they are. I think if Devin Dubnyk is playing for a different team this year, he probably loses his job pretty quickly with the season that he's having. Stalock wouldn't have a job, quite frankly, if he was with a different team. I mean, he looks bad right now, and he's getting good defense. If he was this bad in front of or behind another team, he'd be in the AHL, and there's no doubt about it. And that just kind of brings to issue more the problem with the extension that we talked about last week for Alex Stalock. You're kind of limiting Bruce Boudreau's options here because now you've got Alex Stalock, who is not only the backup this year, but um, is the backup for 3 more years to come. Gives you a lot less flexibility with, let's say, calling up an Andrew Hammond or calling up a Capo Kakinen to maybe make a little bit of a cameo and maybe take a little bit of time off of the two struggling goaltenders that you currently have. I just don't. It just kind of adds up to be a huge mess. I've brought this up before. I don't like bringing this up because I hate being that guy. I hate being a fire the coach guy. But if I'm Bob Mason, I'm sweating bullets. I mean, he really, Bob Mason has been an incredible stabilizing force for the Minnesota Wild for going on 20 years now. And I certainly appreciate, what he's done for this franchise as far as having consistently solid goaltending throughout their history. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think there's no debate. The Wild have not really had bad goaltending until kind of this season. But that being said, I think every coach has a shelf life, and when you've been somewhere for 20 years, it's probably time. I mean, there's just only so many things that you can do and say, and it's fairly clear, I think, that they need a new voice. Devin Dubnyk needs a new voice. I mean, he had that unbelievable season when he first landed here after half a year with Arizona because he was under Sean Burke's tutelage. Now, Sean Burke probably not available as a goalie coach at this point, but it just goes to show you what kind of job a really, really elite goalie coach can do, turning Devin Dubnyk from literally a scrap heap goaltender, somebody who was cast aside by the Edmonton Oilers, of all people, and turned him into somebody who almost won the Vezina on the strength of half of a season. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot to consider here. I think that this game plays right into the whole deadline selling that, a lot of people are really shooting for. I think Eric Stahl is probably not long for this team. And there's some other names that could be included in that as well. Giles and I are going to try our best to cover that on Sunday to go over some teams. We might even have a special guest to help us along with that. But until then, we're going to have to deal with this game on Sunday afternoon against St. Louis and see what comes from that, I suppose. So that'll do it for now. I don't really have much else to say. That it was really just kind of a goaltending night. From Keith Kincaid getting the hook, Corey Schneider kind of coming back and being the hero, to Devin Dubnyk really, imploding before our very eyes. That's all there really was to talk about tonight was the goaltending. So sorry if you were expecting a little bit more out of me. Anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for all the downloads. Thank you for all the support. Giles and I have been writing articles recently, and they've done really well, and we really appreciate that. Encourage you to check out Zone Coverage. We're trying our best to do good work covering this team without having the access that a lot of websites and stations and such have. So thank you for all the support on that. Thank you for keeping up with us on Twitter and all the fun discourse that we have during games. And I will talk to you later.